Here we go. Hey, welcome to the Crooked Spine Show interview. My fans, my audience, if you want to call it that. We want to get ourselves healthy, correct? Part of our health is not just physical, sometimes mental, but also spiritual. Sometimes we're missing that doesn't get us over that edge for one, too. Healing our body and mind can occur in so many different ways. Because it works, spiritual healing has been integrated into medical practices along with alternative medicine practices too, along with being done by individual healers. Salima Adelstien, is that correct?
That's correct.
That's what I make sure I got in my head. Selena has been practicing and teaching spiritual healing as a Sufi leader for over 35 years and is now co-founder of the University of Sufism. She has helped thousands of healthcare practitioners integrate Sufism and spiritual healing to help people get and stay well. Let's find out how, Miss Salima. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me join your show. And I look forward to talking to your audience today and giving them something of value that will help them in not only their health, but in their spiritual journey to live a divinely guided life.
Perfect, Brett. You're in Pennsylvania right now. When you first started finding out becoming a spiritual healer, how was that for you? What was your experience? And what was your first beginnings of that, your journey?
Yeah, it actually happened quite accidentally.
Okay.
I was working as a volunteer in a children's hospice program.
Okay.
And I was enjoying it. And people maybe thought, what is she doing working in a children's hospice program with kids who are dying? Must be very depressing. But it actually wasn't. And the more that I worked with the children, the more they were not dying and they were staying alive. And the doctors were saying to me, what are you doing? And I said, I don't know exactly. I'm just loving them. And I'm moving my hand through their body. And whatever that is, it seems to be helping. And they're laughing and we're having a good time together. So it got me really curious about this whole field of alternative healing. And I started to do some investigative work with the sort of doctor's encouragement. And interesting enough, as a child, I had always thought when people ask, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to be a doctor. And back in the time that I grew up, people would say, oh, no, you want to be a nurse. And I was like, no, I want to be a doctor. Thank goodness we moved past that, right?
Yes. This is 21st century, I think. I agree. Yes.
But what I found was when I went into the hospital, it really didn't resonate for me.
Too sterile, too
sterile, too cold. There was something that it just didn't resonate. And I was like, no, I think I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
So, I had my first, what do I do with my life?
We want to help people, right? You want to help people. So,
and I knew I wanted to help people, but I didn't know. I always thought it was going to be in the world of medicine. And then this opportunity came up to really explore, what is healing all about?
Good.
And I grew up in a family where my grandmother was the matriarch of the family, and I always went to her for advice. And she said to me, her name, we called her Bubby. And I said, Bubby, something strange is happening when I work with these little babies. I said, I'm supposed to be helping them as they're making their transition. And I said, and they're staying alive. And my grandmother just looked at me in these beautiful, loving eyes. And she said, well, of course, you come from a long history of healers in the old country.
Huh.
And I was like, how come I didn't know about that?
No one told me my history. What's going on here?
Right? So, tell me about, because my grandmother never talked about her experiences in the old country before she came over to the United States. It was a forbidden topic. I'm sorry?
From where? What location?
It was part of the old Russia. It's now Belarus and Ukraine.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, but it was when Russia was a big Russia.
The Soviet Union back then. Soviet Union, correct.
Soviet Union, exactly. Yeah, you come from a long line of healers. Your great-grandmother was a healer. She used to see everybody in the neighborhood. They all used to come to her for healing. I said, how come we never knew about this? But, I was just waiting to see which one of my grandchildren would have the gift. And I said, what do you mean? It's a gift? Not everybody has this?
Mm-hmm.
So I started to explore, and I found out it's not necessarily a gift, that there's a healer in all of us.
Okay.
And
Okay. It's almost
right,
like things are dormant in there. So you just got to
right.
get them to come out based on your experiences, your teacher, and a
Mhm.
way to express yourself in that manner.
So I started to explore, well, okay, how do I bring this out so I know what I'm doing instead of just
Yeah.
letting it happen on its own? So I started to explore energy
Mm.
healing and alternative healings. And I traveled basically around the world working with some of the
Wow.
healers from around the world in India and other places, just learning more
Wow.
about healing. And I loved it. My third eye sort of opened, if you know anything about third
Mhm.
eye. So my third eye started open. I started to see auric visions, and two of my brothers are doctors. So I started to tell them about, oh, and I see this organ and it turns this color around. And my brothers are looking at me. I'm the oldest child, right? And they say, you're dropping that pedestal we have you on. This is crazy. And then MRIs came out. And my brother said to me, I just saw
Mm.
an MRI that described what you've been saying to me.
Mm.
This is energy healing and medicine and science starting to come together.
It's almost science is proving what spiritual healing already knows.
Exactly.
Got it. And then also, how do you differentiate spiritual? And you did a little bit of it, spiritual healing from medicine, from psychology, from physical healing. How would
Yeah,
you just explain that? I
there's different levels.
guess. Okay.
So when I was training a group of doctors down in Florida, and doctors are trained to look at symptoms and to treat symptoms, right? So they're
Okay.
looking at the physical level, which is important. But what we're trying to do in energy medicine and in spiritual medicine is look at what's underneath, right?
Mhm.
What are some of the emotional, what are some of the psychological things that might be causing this disease?
Good.
What are some of the childhood traumas that
Mhm.
might be affecting somebody? And then spiritually, what's the lessons, the life lessons that this may be teaching me that's part of my destiny, that's
Good.
part of my alignment with something greater than myself, whether we call that God, whether we call it the divine, whatever word makes sense for you, and something greater than yourself. And that's what spirituality brings to medicine. It helps us look at what's something greater than ourselves that helps us define not only who we are, but why some illnesses may happen to us. I worked with a breast cancer patient, for example,
Mm.
and she was doing all the chemotherapy and the surgery and everything that is needed
Medically.
medically. But what was missing was the grief that she felt at the loss of her teenage son.
Okay. Yeah.
And when she dealt with that and then understood this is a spiritual piece, why God was giving her that in her life, right? That
Yeah.
it wasn't just some horrible thing, but it was a lesson for her in how to live her life in a deeper spiritual sense. The chemotherapy stopped because the cancer stopped.
Amazing.
And
Amazing.
those are the kinds of ways where I feel spirituality, emotional healing, energetic healing, and medicine, you put all those together and we're treating the whole body. We're not just looking at one aspect of it. We're just not looking at the spiritual. We're just not looking at the medical. We're a whole person here, right?
Mhm. It's giving someone that whole, I call it platinum package to get themselves well. And
That's
when you, like I said, hit all points of those aspects of those variables, all of a sudden now you've looked at the whole picture of someone's health history, maybe their divine intervention for one. Also, at that point, their body is getting that full experience, that full benefit. That's great.
exactly. Exactly.
That's the hope, right? That's the hope. Hopefully, future medicine, like allowing women to become doctors,
Hmm.
is
Right. There's a
change
lot
the
of us.
rationale in that. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
so
That's the new medicine, right?
it is. It's just it's like you said. It's going. We got results because we saw the results from what we did different than just the chemo,
Right.
than just the medication per se. And going into explain to me now that we understand the link between spiritual healing and health care. What is Sufism, and how would you basically practice that as a spiritual healing?
Yeah. So Sufism was again something that I came across by accident. I
Okay.
had just come back from India, studying with a few spiritual healers and gurus over in India, and um, I was doing a workshop in New Mexico
Okay.
on healing, and a friend of mine said, "There's a Sufi healer who's in town. You have to meet him."
Okay.
So I said, "Why not? Sure." I'm an adventure person by nature.
Uh-huh.
So I went over to this person's home, and this Muslim man gives me a huge hug. And he says, "My holy daughter, I'm so happy to see you." And right away, like everything that I knew about Muslim men, they don't hug women, you know? It's like, what's going on here? This is different. And I sat down and I was listening to his teachings,
Okay.
which were all about finding your soul purpose and walking into your perfection as a human being and fulfilling your God-given talents. And I was like, I don't know what this Sufism is all about, but whatever it is, and because my third eye was open, there was such a white light that he carried, such a purity in his being, that I said, "Teach me more."
Good.
And he invited me to come to Jerusalem to be with him in spiritual retreat for 40 days,
Wow.
and taught me Sufi spiritual healing, and then set up, because I was a healer, a little clinic where I got to practice with his patients who came to see him so that he could monitor and see how well I was doing. And so I was learning Sufi spiritual healing with people who did not speak English.
Okay. Okay.
Who He took away my psychic vision.
Okay.
So I didn't have any psychic vision anymore, right? And he said, "I'm going to teach you how to heal through the heart. The eye," and this is Sufism, "the eye has a heart.
Okay.
And I want you to understand how to see through the eye of the heart. Because the eye of the heart will not give you an illusory light. The eye of the heart will give you a pure light to see what's at the root of what's going on. So you're not just treating the branch, but you're actually getting to the root of what's going on."
Wow. Wow.
And I came back so transformed from that experience that I said, "This is my life now." And he said, "Great, we'll set up a university. We'll teach other people." And
It's almost by not speaking the same language too. It gave you that filter, I would assume, where you had to focus on just the heart, reading the heart, and nothing else, because you couldn't use other things to realize, am I doing a good job or not, but am I learning this training is actually working in this clinic?
right. Yes. And you could see the effect right away, right? So somebody came in and had hurt their knee, right?
Okay. Okay.
And as we were doing the work, which I want to demonstrate in just a minute,
Good.
so
Good.
that your audience gets a chance to practice this for themselves, because it's very easy, right? But as we were working with his knee, right, we started with the heart, because most of the time, everything, not only in Western, but also with Eastern, across the world, people are more focused in their minds.
Mm-hmm.
And they think things through rather than giving them the opportunity to really sense them. So what we're doing is we're opening the heart channel so people get an opportunity to sense what is the heart's wisdom around this.
Good.
rather than what the mind knows. Because the mind is wonderful. I mean, I grew up in Cambridge, Mass. The mind is great,
Harvard. Yep.
except, right? Yeah, except by its nature, it discerns, right? It lets me know you're Dr. Tony and I'm Salima, right? It lets us know what colors are. It has a purpose. But what I discovered when I was studying with the Sufi master in Jerusalem was the heart has a deeper wisdom, a more holographic wisdom about it. And to do that, we have to open our heart. And that is not always easy.
Especially someone who's analytical. It's like, okay, how do I get someone to do that when they don't think that way?
Right.
Or act that way?
Or act that way. Or even begin to say, well, what does it mean to open my heart? I'm a loving person. I'm a caring person.
Yeah.
What does it really mean? I spent some part of my career as a teacher of a special ed teacher with students who, in order to get into our private school, they had to have been kicked out of 4 public schools because of behavioral problems. They were great kids, but they had some difficulties. Some of them didn't know how to read. The technique that I'm going to teach your audience in just a minute is something that I did when I was a teacher, but didn't realize that it was a spiritual technique.
Okay.
Because I was teaching my teenage boys, I was teaching them how to make the sounds that you need to read words.
The phonetics.
The phonetics, right? And one sound, the sound of ah, right? We know we say it when we take a deep sigh, right? Ah, right. By its nature starts to open the heart. My student Freddie said to me, stood up in class, Miss A, I'm not doing that sound. And I said, why? He said, because it makes my heart hurt.
Oh, okay.
Right? And that's why some people do not like opening their heart, because it exposes the hidden places within our heart that we've been hurt. Mm-hmm. And that we've built up these defenses to protect us. What Sufi spiritual healing does is it begins to break down those walls, or we call that lift the veils, so that you're not living from those places of defense in your life, but you're living from a place of wholeness, a place of fullness, and a place of inner peace. So that, especially now, with everything that's going on in the world, to be able to find and access this inner peace within your heart when you read about all the craziness that's going on in the world right now is something that will keep us healthy. Mm-hmm. Because we all know, I don't need to go over, we all know the stress of negativity and what that does to the human body.
It's amazing when you put it that way, finding internal, sometimes going through the hurt to get to a point of peace inside yourself.
Right.
Wow. It's amazing. And Nick said just that one, that just kind of opens everything up. You go, what is that? What am I feeling? It almost like relaxes your body to feel what's going on inside.
Exactly. Right. And then when you feel it, you don't stop, because what happens too often is we feel something and then we stop. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of people tend to leave their body, especially if they do a lot of meditation.
Okay.
Right? It's, I have this wonderful world outside of my body, and I'm just going to leave my body and meditate out there. Yeah. But that doesn't help us in real life, because we've got to come back and live our real life, right? Live the everyday washing of the dishes, the everyday getting along with our spouses, right? Yeah. The everyday dealing with our children and everything that children present to us, right?
But can we have an internal peace so we do that in a different manner than a stressed person?
Right. And when we have that inner peace in a disease situation, when we're with our doctor, we can say to our doctor, listen, besides this, whatever it is, right?
Mm.
I want to share with you, this is my spiritual practice. This is my emotional state. These are some of the stressors that are going on in my life. So the doctor is getting a full picture of
Good.
what's going on.
Good.
Right? And then the doctor can say, oh, yeah, I know this Sufi healing technique. It may just help with that. Right? And that can be added to the practice. I remember I was teaching a group of docs, and I said something about, imagine if you can see your patients as holy beings, holy. And one doctor raised her hand and said, there's no way. We're trained to see them as sick. And I said, yeah, and you do a great job seeing them as sick.
That's good.
Right?
You know what the problem is.
Yeah. I said, now, if you always see your patients as sick, where are you going to take them? What if, can you imagine for a moment that you see your patient as holy? Now you have a roadmap of taking them from their disease to their innate nature, which is a holy being. Would that make a difference in your practice?
Huge. You'd be happy doctors, not.
Yes. Not so stressful. It's hard for docs, right?
You know, not everyone's going to get better. We get that. It's going to happen. But can you give someone the best chance possible, giving this the best, I want to call it treatments per se, that they give them those options. Hey, you have this, this, and this. Add this to your treatment, your health. At that point, we get you to a higher state of health. At that point, hopefully get better results.
Right. Better results, less time. Maybe initially you're spending more time with the patient, but then less time. Like with my breast cancer patient, she had less time with her chemotherapy. Right.
And what doctors are more, I guess, open to this type of additional treatment for patients, spiritual healing through Sufism, than other doctors? Or how does your, because you've trained thousands of doctors, either health practitioners also, who are more open to this, or what do you see as someone who has potentially ability to add them to their practice, actually see results from their patients?
Yeah. We have a lot of, I don't know why exactly, but we have a lot of acupuncturists in our school.
Okay.
And one of the things that the acupuncturists have said to me is it's really helpful for them when they're placing the needles to not only place it where they know acupuncture, where they've been trained, but to also follow that heart wisdom that I was talking about.
Got it. Okay.
Right? And to put a divine name when they're entering the needle.
Wow.
Right? And a divine name might be a particular divine name like light, right? So they would say the word light, or in Arabic, it's Noor, as they're placing the needle, or that or the Allah that helps ground it. And they found that the treatments are going much faster. Their practices are increasing. They're getting more patients, and they themselves are finding more satisfaction in their practice.
And when you feel like for an acupuncturist, are they telling their patients about what they're doing, or is it more, okay, got it.
Yeah. And then our medical doctors, are saying, wow, we've had cardiologists, for example, in our program, and our cardiologists are saying, oh my, I never thought of helping the patient look at the spiritual causes behind their heart disease. So one of our doctors just wrote a book on inner peace that is all about the journey that he took with his cardiology patient.
Wow. And that's almost like opposite spectrum, where you took a cardiologist, say a surgeon, for example, who is stereotypically not known for their personal, I guess, personality. At that point, going to someone to actually connect the other way, the other spectrum.
Right. Right. It's funny because I used to work at a local hospital in Cambridge, Massachusetts,
Okay.
and we were building a couple of new medical centers there. And I asked one of the surgeons, I
Okay.
said, Doc, tell me, what are we doing now that 20 years from now, we're going to look back on and we're going to say, what I'm doing now in surgery is barbaric. And
Mm.
without a click of my fingers, he said, without a doubt, cutting people open.
Mm.
He said, someday I'm going to look back at what I do and cutting people open, and I'm going to say that's the most, and this was a surgeon talking,
Yeah.
right? And saying that's the most barbaric thing we've ever done.
He has a better vision of what medicine or healthcare should be.
Right. And that's to answer your question, those are the kinds of doctors that are interested in looking at the connection and the interrelationship between spirituality, alternative complementary medicine, and traditional medicine, is people that have a vision of what the future of medicine could look like.
Yeah. It's amazing when doctors really care about their patients' health and want to advance even their own education, like look through your school and your teaching to a higher state of health for themselves and for their patients.
Exactly.
Walk me and if you have time, walk me through a healing session of a person, say with chronic pain. How would you go with someone with that? What's your step-by-step process, please?
So the first step by step would just be the interview process.
Okay.
And getting to know the person and find out as much about them. And after we've done that, then I would just ask them to just take a deep breath, right? To just sit and take that one of those breaths, right? And just feel their body. And your audience can just do that now, even if they don't have any chronic pain. Just take a deep breath. Take that and just really feel your body. And just notice, right? Feel your feet on the ground. Just really notice what's alive in my body right now. For a chronic pain person, they'll talk about whatever that pain is. I'm having pain in my lower back, for example. Okay. So now we're going to add a syllable to that sound. We're going to add a la to it. So we're going to say Allah. And take that sound, that vibration, that Allah. It's actually a sacred name for God. We're going to take it and bring it to the lower back where that pain is.
Okay.
And just continue to feel it moving deeper into that lower back where you have that pain. And spreading out. And as you do that, I want you to see if you can just imagine, because in the beginning it's really about helping people imagine. Just imagine that the pain is going up and entering your heart center. And I'm not talking about your physical heart, I'm talking about your spiritual heart, which is way bigger than your physical heart. And it's like you're taking all the love, the unconditional love that exists within your spiritual heart, and you're letting it absorb and embrace and dissolve the pain that you're feeling in your lower back. And now I want you to say either Allah or any other divine name for something that's greater than yourself into your heart. But make sure it has an sound to it. And just keep saying it into your heart. For some people, an image may come up, an image from childhood or an image from current day. If it does, just let it be. It's like a cloud that's passing. And we're going to look for truth. Through your heart's wisdom, we're going to look for what is the truth about what's the root cause of this pain. And if nothing comes, that's okay. If something comes, you may again get oh, wow. I remember when. Just notice it. And again, bring those 2 syllables of Allah, that sacred name, into the heart and bring light to it. Bring love to it. Love is one of the greatest healers that we have. We tend to want to push things away, but what we learn in spiritual healing is let it be dissolve in love, like a drop in an ocean. Drop doesn't care about. It's got a whole vast ocean. Just going to let that pain dissolve into the ocean. And let your head just gently bow so that it's lower than your heart. So you're not letting that beautiful mind get involved. Your heart knows what your mind can only imagine. So you're going to drop out of the imagine, and we're going to let the heart lead. And just let your heart open even deeper. And just listen. Your heart can talk to you. Because your heart is the home for the divine. So as your head is bowed lower than your heart, I want you to listen deeply. We say the heart has an eye and the heart has an ear. I want you to listen deeply. So, what does your heart say? What are the words of your heart to you? Like a message from the divine to you. And then I would ask what message you're receiving. Now take that message. And how can you live your life from that new place? What can change within your body, heart, your soul, and your spirit? Because the pain is only leading you to a direction. Now that you know the road, the pain has no need anymore. Nice. Good.
Got it, man.
Got it?
Wow. All right. Pretty good. Really good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. When you practice that, when you teach someone to do that, they can almost take care of their own health when they have problems like that, especially with chronic pain or things not going away. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Yeah.
You're going to put me out of a job. Thank you.
No, I won't. What I will do is make your job more meaningful.
Perfect.
And more powerful and more effective.
Mm-hmm.
because people are finding out what's at the root cause of what's happening in my spine, because the spine especially has all of these, and I'm sure you see it, it has all of these, what I call little knots in it.
Mm-hmm.
And as the work that you do as a chiropractor, you're untying those knots, which are part of what we inherit through our DNA.
Nice.
So you're actually healing not only yourself and the work that you do, but you're healing the generations before the person and after. And that's why I wouldn't put you out of business, but I give
Thank
you
you.
more business. Because we need those generational healings.
And their experiences, correct? That teach us different things through our lifetimes.
Right.
It's amazing when you're able to do that, and like other people too, is past the next person. It almost makes you more. I want to see you're offering more services in a different way to help someone actually get their overall health better for now and the future and the past.
And then they wind up, Dr. Tony, then they wind up wanting to refer more patients to you, right? I just saw this Dr. Tony. He's great. He just taught me something that you've got to go experience because it was mind-blowing, right? One of my colleagues used to, you should consider having him on your show, but he used to, on stage, have somebody who had scoliosis of the spine, and just through the energetic work, not even the spiritual work, the energetic work, be able to move the spine to a straight position.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So there's a lot out there, and hopefully through the work that you're doing in this podcast and the work that you're doing in your practice, more and more people will find out about it and will be the change of a beautiful future for medicine and for the health of every individual out there.
That would be amazing. That would save so many surgeries, so much less medication, so many people being just in a lower health state, mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Right. And we'll have a better world.
Yes. That would be amazing.
Yes.
That would be amazing. As we wrap things up, Miss Salima, and thank you for running the session, because I feel better. Just I almost took a nap almost.
That's what I mean about finding that inner peace, right?
You find that able to relax for one too.
Yeah.
What are the 5 C's of inner truth? I'd seen some of that on your website, things like that. Talk about the 5 C's and how that connects with Sufism and spiritual healing.
So 5 C's are, we have a free video series that we will share with your audience, but the 5 C's actually give people the foundation of what Sufism is all about in just simple language, and how to communicate better, how to have better commitment, how to associate, right? In each of those 5 C's, we'll give you a video that explains it, a little exercise to do with it, and a way that it connects to the principles of Sufism.
It's a way, like you said, it's a way, just listening to the last 30 minutes or so explain what Sufism is. It's a way to live your life.
It's a way to live a divinely guided life, I say.
Yes, got it. Thanks for extra words.
Yeah. Because we can live a life that's full of materialism.
A better life, a divine, like I said, divine for everybody. How many religions did you actually experience or learn on your travels? How many different religions?
How many different religions? Oh, probably 7 off the top of my head.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It's amazing when people look outside their own religious, I guess, growing up or their background and go, what else is out there? And go, this does connect with mine. This does connect. It's almost like they're almost so valuable together because they all have different perceptions of what divine health might be.
And there's something in Sufism that we call unity.
Okay.
And in unity, there's a oneness. And in that oneness, everything exists. And we're all, and you've seen this, I'm sure, we're all part of that oneness. And the more that we understand our relationship to that oneness, the more we understand the unity of how everything is connected, including ourselves and our bodies,
Mm-hmm.
the more we live as one and not this ridiculous separation of religion and peoples and nation and just all the, excuse me, but all the what I would call nonsense that's going on in the world right now.
I
And that's what
can't
I mean
disagree
when I
with
say,
you. I can't disagree with you. There's always will be different levels about how do you and myself and each person give that sense of how to be different, how to help people be different so they see the light too, and then from there keep passing it on exponentially to the next person, next person, next person.
right, because there's this, for me anyway, there's
Yeah.
a misconception that some people have more light than other people,
That's human nature.
right?
That's up here.
That's up here.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what I would say to you and all your audience, we all have the same light.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it is covered over, some of it is veiled, and some of it is hidden. Our job as human beings is to uncover that light and to live in it together. And that's
Wow.
the essence of Sufism.
And then who could disagree?
Yeah. And that's why Sufism is universal. It doesn't belong to any one religion.
Fantastic. All right. Made me feel better.
Thank you so much for having me on your show and allowing me to share a little bit with your audience today. I really hope you enjoy the video and the free offering. And
it's in the show notes. I put the link for the free offering. Phenomenal. I had a chance to check it out a little bit for one too. It just it breaks it down to layman's terms. If someone has no idea what religion might be, of how to just understand what the values of being a good divine person, so you feel good inside, right? It's about your internal healing first, then you can bring this out to other people too.
Right. And finding that inner peace inside. So no matter what's going on in the outside world, you stay calm inside. You stay connected to something greater than yourself.
Salima, thank you. I'll also put links to your Facebook and Instagram also. Anything else you want to end before we end the show?
Just gratitude.
Okay.
This is such it's such a big thing and such a small thing. But if we all just take a moment and allow ourselves, I am so grateful to you, Dr. Tony, and to your audience for listening. And if we all, in those moments where, we think, oh God, what am I going to do next here? Right? And we all have those moments in our lives.
Yeah.
Right? If we all just take a moment and just stop and say, what am I grateful for in this moment? It begins to shift that mindset to our heart set.
Nice.
So that's what I want to leave your audience with, a moment of gratitude.
Quick smile for the thumbnail, ma'am. You do it already. Easy. Thank you for being on the show. I'm going to hang out for 1 second. I'm going to end the show. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. Hope you feel better like I do. Hang out for 1 second.